Floyd, last episode we talked about social media as a ministry for the follower of Christ.
Yeah.
And it seems just like, let's just keep rolling in a conversation about cancel culture. It seems like those are kind of cousins of one another. Yeah. So, I mean, again, being the king of the socials and, the worldwide webs.
The interwebs.
The interwebs.
I'm on the interwebs.
Is cancel culture a really hot topic right now? What's going on with all of it, and what's your thoughts? And then maybe describe to us a little bit about your view of what it is.
I want to go there, but I'm curious, like, what does Google define? Do you have like a Google definition?
Yeah, you keep talking and I'll look it up.
So, like, when I think of cancel culture, it's always that dance of accountability versus calling out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at what point do you call people out on crap? And the other point, when you hold them accountable of it, it's tough. I'm never a fan of cancel anything. They cancel my favorite TV show, I get mad. So let alone canceling culture. I don't know. What's the interweb? Are we?
Give me a second, because it took me. I went to Wikipedia and then it went down
the rabbit hole.
A bunch of other stuff. Here we go. Merriam-Webster. Cancel culture: the practice or tendency of engaging in mass canceling as a way of expressing disapproval and exerting social pressure.
Yeah,
that's their definition.
Dude, it's one of those things. It sucks, right? We've all seen things that make you want to cancel them, right? Someone's posted something and you want to cancel them, but then it's always that dance of how do you cancel an organization, right? Something came out and Amazon was a big thing, right? Everyone wants to cancel and boycott Amazon for whatever reason it is, right? Then how do you do that when Netflix uses Amazon servers to put out its content? Right. So, like, where do you draw the line? And I think a lot of people are okay. I'm okay with holding businesses, organizations, and people accountable. But at what point do you extend like the Christian Christ-like grace on it? And that's why I said last episode, like, dude, people are really good at handling grace when it's years down the road. They're not good at handling grace in the moment. Live action grace.
Yeah. I think a lot of us who are Christians have the right idea of let's be salt and light in our culture. But I think it can come out wrong
for sure
in the way it's expressed. And if you think about, and I'm not saying I'm pro or anti cancel, I'm just unpacking it here real time.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to cancel an organization for a particular worldview that they have that I don't feel lines up with my personal conviction, and or scripture, if I'm going to cancel them, and then do it quietly.
Yeah.
I don't know about throwing a big angry post out there saying this is what I'm going to do. I don't know if that does anything but stir up the rage that's out there.
For sure.
But if you're going to do that, then how far down the trail are you going to go? Like, I'm holding an iPad. Where are some of these products manufactured?
Yeah.
Is it possible that they're manufactured in oppressive environments where human trafficking?
Yeah.
It could be labeled as.
Draw the line?
I certainly hope not.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But man, iPads are convenient.
I mean, am I going to look at the organization of the company of Apple and go, well, their worldview doesn't line up with mine. I cancel that. So how far do you want it to go? I would just encourage those listening, like, if you're going to go there, okay, cool, go there. But are you going to pick and choose?
Well, it's tough because it's also that piece of, can you have an opinion?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay not to agree. And I think that's where cancel culture has it wrong. Like, dude, it's okay for us not to see eye to eye on some things. And that's totally fine. That doesn't mean I hate you.
Right.
I still love you. You're still my brother in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have to agree with every word that comes out. Politics is another one where it gets really tricky, where a lot of people want someone post one thing about this particular politician, and it goes down a web, and all of a sudden they get canceled and they lose followers because they listen to this person or they support that person. Like, dude, come on. Who you listen to, who you follow is almost taken into scrutiny, right? So I think that it's tough having accountability, but it's also okay to have an opinion and giving people a safe place. Like, the world is really no longer, I don't feel that it's no longer a safe place to have a public opinion. It's okay to have opinion behind closed doors. But if you're going to put it out on the internet, again, that's that responsibility piece, right? You put it out on the interwebs. Can you really have a public opinion on the interwebs about something, or can you disagree with something that's went out there to the masses to that account?
You know, there was recently a major department store chain that had some stuff that they were marketing, and there was a big outrage about it. A lot from maybe the more, I'd say, Christian. I hate to say conservative and Christian because
they're two different.
We are stereotyped as being the same thing,
for sure.
and I don't think they are. But from the Christian community, there was a lot of outrage about it, and I agreed with the opinion like that. I don't support that, but I never made any public. Not that people were wanting me to make a public statement, but I never did make one. Never made a post about it. I just haven't purchased anything from there since then.
Yeah.
Am I going to cancel them forever? I don't know. But I just went, I'm not going to shop there for at least right now.
Yeah.
And for me, maybe that was my version of cancel, but at least it was quiet and it was
but you
personal.
can have an opinion on it, though, right?
Yeah.
And but it's also your prerogative that if you decided to put out a post on that, like no one should not like you because you have an opinion on.
If I post on it, I feel a responsibility to do it in a way that represents Christ.
For sure.
And not just represents the angry Scott.
So then why not for life too, outside of Instagram, outside of Facebook, outside of Twitter, outside of any of those social media platforms? Like what does it look like to live that out?
Okay, that's a good one. So why is it easier for me to cancel someone via a post online or a comment online than it is in real life
relationship? Because you don't have to have crucial conversation face to face. Boom.
Right?
Which is a great book, by the way. I don't know if you read it.
Crucial Conversations
is a baller read. But
it's a classic.
You don't have to have crucial conversation in real time.
Right.
And people are, they kind of flee from conflict.
So where's the courage in this then?
It's not. But then as like a Christ follower, I think that there is that responsibility to where you should be able to have that crucial conversation, have that opinion, to hold people accountable of their words. As I am being discipled, the person that's discipling Floyd has the freedom in my life to come to me and tell me when I miss the mark if I don't see it. But if you're not being discipled, who is going to tell you like, hey, dude, that post was left field?
And I think that's a great point, man. And when we cancel via a post, I think there's a lot of challenges involved. Maybe the biggest one is that it's not a crucial conversation. It's not a dialogue.
No.
It's just a statement.
I said what I said and I'm leaving the room.
That's right. Bam. But I think also written communication is incredibly difficult to do well.
Yeah.
To do it in a tone that creates dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's a skill that if someone doesn't have to do that on a regular basis, it doesn't happen very well. No. And so you ever send an email and you send an email and the person who received it receives an entirely different message than what you intended to send.
Oh my goodness. Email, text message.
Right? Tone of voice, body language, none of that's there.
Yep.
It's just caps, lower, exclamation. You know what I mean? Like, and you might send me a caps exclamation because you're excited. And you're like, Scott, man, yes.
Yeah.
Where I might read it as, you know what I mean? Like
you're yelling at me.
Right. And so if it's such a common challenge in everyday life, written communication via email, it translates right to social.
Gosh.
It just amplifies the confusion or the lack of clarity about what's this person really trying to communicate. So it's a dangerous playground.
Well, it's that you talked about this a long time ago, dude. So you talked about 2D and 3D conversation. I don't even know if you remember this. You and I had a talk about that. I want to say like 2-3 years ago now, about just the impact of having a 2D conversation, the text message. You can't convey emotions via text. You can't. I'm on a company, like my job, we all have a group text, right? So I'm texting, and then I was like, oh, snap, I'm texting from my computer, my MacBook, I'm sorry, and I have the caps lock on, and I'm going. And then I look at it, I was like, I'm so sorry for yelling at y'all. This caps lock was on, and they're probably thinking like, man, he's either really excited or something's going on, or he's really passionate about this. But it wasn't. It was just hey, I'm just updating you on what's going on in my world on a business end.
I had the same thing happen here in church about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When I sent an email to a small group of folks that were doing something together, and amazing people, love them. They're great and still friends. And I was communicating some next steps to some things, like a project. And I put all caps on certain different words.
Oh man.
And it was just more like, and the intent was, hey, don't miss this. This is the critical pieces for clarity's sake. I get a reply from one of the folks, and it was like, well, in all caps, Scott, well, we will. And it was, and they got mad at me, and I'm like, what is going on here? And it was really my fault for assuming that all caps just meant a little more attention is given to this, when to them it was somebody's mad. And
there's that word again, though. Like, how do you handle conflict? How do you handle anything? Intentionality. Right. So then what's that verse? Help me. Is it Matthew 18 or Matthew 19? It's like, if you have grievance with your brother,
forgiveness. Yeah.
Take it directly to them. I think that's where cancel culture and accountability just are on opposing ends of the table. Yeah. Right. So I think cancel culture leans more to, no, if I don't agree with you, I'm going to yell it in the streets.
Sure.
Like my wife and I, if we have conflict, I am not at Papados, which I love me some Papados.
I'm telling you.
Gosh, man. I love me some Papa. This is not brought to you, but those Papa Brothers, they got it right.
Today's sponsor is
Papados. Brought to you by Papados. Go on and get that fried fish. It is crispy.
So let me tell you a really vulnerable or a transparent story.
Is it about Papados?
No, it's not about Papados. So in the last few years, I'll keep it at that.
Yeah.
There's this leadership conference called Global Leadership Summit.
Yeah, GLS.
Right, GLS.
Yeah.
And our team, experiences it every year via the satellite feed.
Yeah.
There's some great content, great people. In recent past, there was one of the speakers that I felt like went completely off the rails.
Oh, okay. I think I remember which one you're talking about.
And I'm sure there's different opinions on that.
I'm tracking. Okay.
And I thought, man, this person's off the rails. They looked to me like they were a really wounded person. I've been around long enough to know when I'm wounded, and I can see it in other people when they're like, walking through some stuff. And maybe being on a platform isn't the best. That's not the best time for them to be, right?
For sure.
They just looked like they were coming off the rails. And we had several young staff members, and I was really concerned that what they were hearing and what they were seeing and experiencing was leadership that should be celebrated and applauded. And I'm like, man, what do you do with this? And so what I did that night is I sent an email, and as respectful and as clear as I could be about that particular talk and the individual, to the Global Leadership Summit, the folks. I just dug around, and where do I send this? Where do I send, found an email address. And I tried to, just talk about what my concerns were without attacking the person, and just sent it out. And the most awesome thing happened. They replied to me the next day. I literally sent it at like 10 o'clock at night. The next morning in my inbox, thank you so much for sharing your concerns. We'd like to set up an appointment with you. And it was the president of the Global Leadership Summit.
Come on.
And have a conversation. Yeah. And we, just a few days later, on the phone, had a conversation, the president of GLS and I. And, I get all nervous. I'm like, oh man, now I got to actually engage in relational conversation.
Crucial conversation.
Right?
Yeah.
I can send my email. I'm all mad,
easy.
But now we got to talk it out. I was so encouraged and had such high respect for him and that team that said, thank you, let's talk.
Yeah. And
we had a great 20-minute phone conversation. We actually are from the same area up in Michigan, and great relational conversation. He listened, and he shared some of his thoughts around that particular talk. Yeah. That I'll just leave,
for sure,
for that conversation.
Let's see if you say
it was such a great example of relational dialogue.
Gosh.
When you don't like something. Boom. And I really respect them for that. And it challenged me. I'm like, okay, I got to actually do this. And so in the conversation of cancel culture, we don't have, maybe try to email the organization.
Gosh.
They might not respond. But what if they do?
But
and then you got to have the conversation.
So let's play it the other way. So let's say you had that experience. How many times people have negative experiences, and instead of reaching out and calling or whether it's with the person or organization, you just go straight to socials. and you just beat the drum of
Yep.
this, this was my experience. And it's like a Yelp review of what it is, right? Like when you read those, you always get the Bell's curve. You always get the really good or the really bad, and the really good you don't trust, but it's overwhelmingly amount that people have negative experience that they're easier to go over the top with in and out. So let's say you had that negative experience with GLS, right? And you reached out, and you didn't reach out. I'm sorry. You just put it straight online.
Yep.
How bad could that have been? That could have attacked the character of the organization.
It didn't give them a chance to explain themselves.
Explain. They wouldn't. You didn't have the crucial conversation of that. Yep. And I think that's
and
where
it would have made, in my opinion, would have made me look just like every other guy.
Yeah.
Just, throwing it out there.
As opposed to you taking the time, you processed it.
It was a lot more work to take the time and process it and find where to send it, and then have the phone meeting.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is, is that processing crucial conversation is more difficult than going to any platform and yelling, cancel it.
Yeah.
That's the hard work.
And I guess if you're going to cancel, according to your convictions, process it first.
Gosh, yeah.
Right? And maybe talk with someone who's close to you, process it out loud as well. And if you still want to cancel, that's your choice.
Yeah, that's
right?
your prerogative.
Yeah.
Hold accountability.
What about the conversation around, like, when do we extend compassion?
Where's grace?
Where's grace in this? Let's say there's a public figure, and they did something that showed their brokenness.
Yeah.
Showed a moment of weakness, or something like that. What do we do? And I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know if I qualify. I'm not talking about someone does a crime that's horribly hurtful to a human being and we just turn the other cheek. I'm not turning the other way. I'm not saying that, but in everyday errors in life, what do you do with that?
No, dude, it's like I said, accountability. It's, as a celebrity, I think that you're put on this pedestal. And when you raise a person above Christ, I think that's where you miss the mark. Like, you're a pastor, but I know you're not perfect. You've shared your brokenness. You've been vulnerable. You've been honest and open. And in that, you can see it. But how many times, I think a lot of times we see people and we put them up on this pedestal to where when they fall, it's like, oh no, they fall. I don't know what to do. This man, and you go on this rant about the bad side and you just cancel them. Well, no, they were just being vulnerable in a moment. Yeah. And they were sharing where they were. And we decided not to love them through it. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how we expect more of others than we expect of ourselves?
Gosh.
I mean,
I want Floyd, you to love me through my brokenness, but I ain't going to love you through yours.
Well, Floyd, you're the pastor. You're supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but it doesn't mean that when I show my weakness or when my weakness gets the better of me in a moment, that you cancel me.
Yeah.
Maybe your compassion says, I'm going to come walk alongside you.
That's it.
And be with you.
That's it.
Or I want to be someone who will encourage you back to God's potential in you.
How intentional
and
are
not
you
just
with
throw
your
you.
words?
Pardon me?
How intentional are you with your words with that, though?
You got to be, again, process. You got to think it through, right? It's the difference, in my opinion, between reacting and responding.
Come on, talk
when
to
I
me
react, it's that emotion.
Yeah.
Back to last episode, am I going to be emotional or am I going to be intentional with my social media posts?
Yeah.
And my reaction, and I do this way too much, it's emotional. I walked in here today, and this whole week has just been one of those stereotypical spill the coffee in your lap, driving down the road every day kind of a thing. And you hey Scott, how you doing? Because I know you guys, and I love you guys, and you know me, and I think you love me too. I'm just like, I'm not good.
Scott. I love you,
I'm
Scott.
Just in a bad, like, well, let's and
talk about it.
We just sat through it for a minute, right?
Yeah.
But it was that was a reaction. It wasn't a response. Like, you know what I mean? A response is more process. Okay, how can I respond to this in a way that helps it move forward?
Yeah.
Or get better.
For sure.
Or lift the dignity of someone in this, where the reaction is like, dude, you're horrible. You piece of beep.
They go. Yeah. They go. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I think I want to say cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. But I'd
That's
also
your book.
think
That's
not
it.
my book. That's that. Oh gosh, that's it. I need AI. ChatGPT can write that for me. That'd be amazing. But like, I think that there's some things of it that's just flat out stupid, right? It's just stupid. It makes no logical sense to why I can't love people through it. But it's also that piece of people who cancel others. I still love you. And I'm still going to love you through it. And I'm still going to be intentional with my words and kind of come alongside of you and show you where we kind of missed the mark and how we can be better at it.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to agree. It's okay to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay for our opinions not to align. But when it's all said and done, I still love you. You're still my brother in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will give you the shirt off my back. Yes, it may be a little bit bigger, but I will straight up give you the shirt off my back.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I hang my hat on it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's good. Yeah, it gets annoying though, because sometimes you're like, oh man, this person was actually like them. Wait, we're canceling this?
Right. I'm like, I'm not canceling Will Smith. I love the guy.
I love
He's
Will
awesome.
Smith.
Hey,
What's that?
I probably would have done the same thing and then had to repent later.
Yeah, pray for me. Please pray for me. I lost my cool.
That's right.
I reacted and not responded.
Hey, I mean, how many of us, if we were on the national spotlight, wouldn't have several moments where we're like, oops,
Gosh.
Wish I could do over on that one.
I have it all the time. I put my foot in my mouth a lot. I just don't post that part.
Let's wrap this one up, man. Cancel Culture is the name of Floyd Stubblefield III's new book coming up.
Yeah.
www.cancel.ccc.
CCC.
Yeah.
Triple C, baby.
That's right. Hey, man,
Put that on a shirt.
if anybody, you guys listening out there, viewing, whatever platform they're viewing or watching or listening on, want to hear their feedback. What are your thoughts? Anything in the conversation that was helpful, maybe you even disagree with, throw that out there, and would love to hear from folks.
And if you've canceled somebody, I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know who you canceled and why. And I want to come alongside you and talk through it.
Yeah.
Maybe that can be like another episode where we just read them and we just talk through it.
Yeah, I like it. I like
it.
Thank you, Floyd.
Oh, man. Thank you, Scott. It was fun. Always.